Hi, I'm James White and I'm the UK's leading prospect conversion expert. My passion is helping fantastic small businesses turn their prospects into customers and make those sales targets into actual numbers. I provide sales mentoring and help to make sure that you hold yourself accountable to get the results you want. In this video, I'm going to talk through the key things you've got to consider when you do that first prospect meeting. We've all been there. We finally managed to get in contact with someone, we've arranged a meeting, and we want that first meeting to go perfectly. So here are a number of steps that you're going to need to take in order to ensure that meeting goes fantastically well. Let's take a look. So what's the first thing that you want to happen with that meeting that you've had arranged for a while? The key thing is you want it to go ahead. And so the first thing you need to do is make sure that maybe 1 week before and maybe 1 day before, you clarify with the prospect, maybe in the version of a phone call or an email, that the meeting that you've got in place is still taking place and is still going ahead. And confirm with them the timescale and the agenda for that meeting and what they're going to get from it. Do that and make sure that you prepare so that when you then get to that day, you don't then find that the prospect has forgotten about you, forgotten about the meeting or what was going to be covered off. And that will ensure that you show you value your time and value theirs, and it will also make sure that that meeting goes ahead. There's nothing more frustrating than turning up at a site or turning up at a meeting and finding that the whole thing's been a mistake. Do that, and that's the first thing you're going to need to do to engage effectively in that first meeting. Point number 2, and it's a difficult one, of course it is, as more and more traffic hits the road. But don't be late, but also do not be too early for that first meeting. I've had prospects turn up for a meeting with me at 10 o'clock at 9:30. And what it's made me think is A, they don't value their own time, and B, it's put me under pressure as I have stuff to do before that meeting takes place. If your meeting's at 10 o'clock, turn up at 10 minutes to 10. Be early, be punctual, but don't be too early. And of course, try not to be late. But if you are going to be late, make sure you pick up the phone and talk to the prospect and let them know that you're going to be late and for what that reason is. It's going to help them build a picture of you in their mind that you're a person that's courteous and respectful of their time. So what's point number 3 in order to ensure that first meeting goes really, really well? Well, I always think it's important, and in my TrackFair model, I talk about your appearance. And when you're engaging with a prospect for the first time, I think it's vital to look good and actually smell good, and be in a position where you're suited for your marketplace. For example, if you work in the financial sector in London, you're probably going to wear a suit. But if you work, for example, in the creative industry, you may not wear a suit. The key thing is to look good for your industry, smell good, feel good. In that first meeting, you're going to be making that impression, and you don't want to be feeling like you've got a hangover or feeling like you've felt bad from something you've eaten the night before. Do the preparation, feel good, smell good, look good, act like you mean business, and that prospect's going to get a great initial impression of you, and more importantly, you're going to feel confident when you engage with them. Point number 4, build a first strong impression. We all know statistics that say that people make an impression of you as a person from the first 30 seconds or so that they engage with you. And so what's key for you when you engage with a new prospect for the first time is that they get that good first impression. Try and build some conversation with them. Maybe try and talk through something that's going on, maybe in their world, maybe the weather or what's happening in their industry. Try and engage in conversation so that you can start to build a rapport with that prospect initially, and let them ask a question and then let them respond. By that initial engagement and that initial rapport building, you're going to hopefully be in a great position for when you do come to start the meeting properly, that they're going to want to engage and listen to you and talk to you about the challenges and issues they have. Point number 5 on how to make that first meeting go really well. You should be talking for no more than probably 30 to 35% of that meeting. And you should be asking the questions to the prospect and letting the prospect talk. We do know there are some people that we engage and meet with who don't want to talk. And of course, that's a challenge in every case. You can look through some of the best chat show hosts and they'll tell you about people they've interviewed where it's been difficult. But in most cases, people like to talk about themselves and what they're doing. And your job in this first meeting is to get to know them and more about their challenges and the problems that they have. 70% of the time should be them talking and you listening, and not the other way around. And actually, if you think about when you engage with people that try and sell to you, what puts you off more? If someone just talks at you consistently and just tries to present information to you and share about them before they talk about you, it puts your backs up. So don't be in that position. You want that first meeting to go well. So ask questions about what's going on in that prospect's world. What are the challenges that they're facing? What's their priority for the year? What are the things that they're looking to achieve? And let them talk. Focus in on questions that you can use to ask them that can understand more about them and what they're doing, and let them be the focus of the conversation for most of the time. Point number 6 is this. If you're going to listen to that prospect and they're going to tell you about what's going on in their world, then be professional and write down or note down, for example, if you're tapping away into a computer or an iPad, what it is they're talking to you about. I always think it looks good if you go to a meeting with a professional looking book and a nice pen. You don't want to bring something out that you've chewed to bits and it looks like it's come from the back of your sofa, or you don't want to bring out your jotter pad that looks like you've got last week's shopping on it. Bring something that looks professional, a nice leather-bound book. You can get them really cost effectively now, and it enables you to show to the prospect that you look professional, that you're going to engage with them in the right way, and then take notes on the points that they make, and then use that in future reference with the prospect. And it's a great way of making yourself look professional and making sure that you've really valued what the prospects had to say. Point number 7 is present your material and business card at the right time. There are some cultures around the world where the first thing you must do is present a business card. But they're also sometimes the wrong thing to do if you were to actually go and talk to someone and immediately just slap down a load of material about who you are and what you are on front of them. Building that rapport initially, of course you may need to actually get a business card out or place it in front of you so that you're ready to give to that prospect, but maybe pass it over at a later stage in the meeting. But be careful about where you use the tools and the resources that you have within the conversation. Just giving them a whole load of paper and asking them to look through something is likely to mean they're going to flick through that and not engage with you in a conversation. Use the resources that you have when you need to. Identify the right time for maybe when the prospect says to you, is there any further information you can provide us with here, or how can I make sure I get back in contact with you, and then provide that professional looking brochure or business card to the prospect that's going to leave a strong impression with them. Don't do it at the wrong time. Do it at the time that feels right and at a time where it's a suitable point to then take them on to the next stage in your sales process. Point number 8 is be very clear when you leave that meeting on what the actions are and when they're going to be done and who has actually got those actions. If you can summarize the nature of the meeting and what's going to happen, your prospect's going to leave feeling clear about what was involved. They're going to feel good about the actual nature of the meeting and it was a good use of their time. And you're also going to be left with a clear process and way in which to move forward in order to move that prospect to the next stage. There's nothing worse than ambiguity of someone saying to you a few weeks afterwards, I thought you were going to come back to me rather than the other way around. Be clear, be definitive, be able to outline what's going to happen next, and it's going to show your prospect that you're serious and professional and someone that should be worth working with. And my final tip for ensuring that that first meeting with a prospect goes incredibly well is to, as soon as you can, maybe a few hours, maybe a day or so later, follow up with the prospect and thank them for their time and clarify the nature of the meeting, what was discussed and what's going to happen next. And then make sure you do those actions. Respond quickly, show professionalism, record that information, and you're going to then be in a great position to turn that first meeting into a second meeting and hopefully further business down the line. So there were my 9 tips on the key ways in which you can ensure that first meeting with a prospect go really well. Please share your comments down below, and if you like the video, please share that with friends and family and people that you know can value from the information that we've shared here. My passion is giving you the tools and the resources that you need as a business owner or a sales professional to get better results. And I know if you take on board the advice I give and use it alongside the other resources that I have on my website and the other resources that you can generate, you could be in a position to win more business and be in a position to hit those sales targets and numbers. I'm James White. I'm the UK's leading prospect conversion expert, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts and understand more about you and your business, and then how I can help you achieve your sales targets.